Well, we don't call it a project, but it's what we call a prototype. For the last 2 weeks, ZGF and some other Zambians were formed what is called the Team Zambia, and we're being trained or we're being coached by the Complexity University, where we have to choose what we think is a pertinent issue in the communities where we are working, and what can be done to solve some kind of a problem.
Resolve Systems Limited is a social enterprise firm whose mandate or overriding objective is to find solutions to the challenges of life for common good. And one of the challenges that we have noticed in Zambia is the issue of waste. Waste management is a very thorny issue in Zambia, and we have been conducting research for a very long time now, for over 10 years.
And so, as Team Zambia, we talked about issues to do with environment and poverty. So we talked about household poverty. So household poverty, we say now, what causes household poverty? There are many reasons why people are poor. One of them could be that they have inadequate sources of income per household. And then this community, for example, which is George community, we realized that in our interaction with the George community, they have talked about waste. That waste is an issue here, solid waste is an issue.
As much as I've heard about waste management, but not to the extent that I heard from this workshop. Because from the previous platforms we have attended workshops on waste management, they only dealt with the biogas. Especially they just focused on biogas and the separation of the waste products. But on this one, the facilitator talked about even, the scientific names of the bottles, of the scrap metal, and the income, the money that is attached to these things. Such that I was even thinking to myself to say, you see, money, you can be sitting at home. People we don't know where money is. Money is right where we are, because we don't separate these waste. We just put them in one bin. But from the way he spoke yesterday, that if you separate them, the bottles on their own, the canned bottles on their own, and the canned bottles fetch much more money than the plastic ones.
Since we wanted this thing to take place in George, and we ensured that we should have 20 participants from George compound itself. Then we thought about other communities where ZGF is working. So within Lusaka, Peri-urban, we have Mandevu constituency, people from Gwerere. So 2 came from Gwerere. And then we have 2 from Kamanga compound, where we have started working. And then Chawama, we had 4, because we had 2 women from the group we started working with first, to Zachile Hamwe, and then 2 young men from the Chawama Youth Project. These are carpenters, because we realized that there's something to do with the manufacture and construction of the bin. So if these young men got the idea, then it would be easier for them to make the bins, to make them available to the people.
I've also learned how to manufacture, or to make rather, a bin. I'm going to sensitize with my colleagues, schoolmates, and people also in Chawama.
And then we had 2 from one of our rural communities, our new rural communities, which is in Bongolo community, found in Chibombo, along Mumbwa Road. So that's the composition we had of the people. And I think the participation was excellent.
Suffice to say that at the moment, there are improving practices to manage our waste. There has been some centers that have been constructed and set up around communities, where people who pick sorted garbage or recyclable materials can take those materials to and sell at different prices, depending on the materials. And people are making a bit of money out of that to buy the medicines for their sick, and also to buy food for their children and school uniforms. But one component of garbage that is not being taken care of is the organic component.
We learned that there are two types of waste. One is called the dry waste and the other one is called the wet waste.
The organic component comprises the biodegradables, or the things that decompose, or vameneviola in local language. Those materials, we do not have places where we can take them to and sell the way we sell the HDP, the water bottles, the paper and cardboard, and the aluminum and other recyclable materials. We do not have the buyer for the organic component. But as you know, that the organic component is actually the component of garbage that causes diseases, because it's the food for the bacteria. And it's the part of the garbage which, when it decomposes, brings in a lot of vermin or small animals that can spread diseases. Or even when it's decomposing, it naturally smells. So you have a lot of bad smells around the communities because of the decomposing cabbages and decomposing food scraps that come out of people's kitchens and the markets.
And again, we learned that waste, if it is not put to proper use, it can be very destructive.
So we have been, like I said, doing research to try to find a way in which the organic component of waste can best be recycled at household level. And for us, we have gone through 6, 7 possibilities. They are a bit expensive for our communities in Zambia, and what we have found to be the most appropriate is to use the black soldier fly.
He talked about the black soldier fly, that it's different from the, in Bemba we say the lunshi, or bayinzi muchinyanja. That black soldier fly is different from the ordinary bayinzi or ordinary balunshi. You know, in English, maybe house fly, different from the ordinary house flies.
The black soldier fly is a special fly. It's very difficult to see, but if you are very patient, you can see it around food, especially organic food.
So when we were investigating to find out exactly what people could do by trying to get rid of waste, instead of them paying for waste disposal, then they get some income from the waste which they are producing, especially organic waste. So we thought it was a good thing to bring it here to prototype, to test our prototype. So the 2 days have been basically a point for us to test our prototype with the community.
This black soldier fly lays eggs in large quantities. It's a very special fly, like I have said. In one instance, it can lay between 500 to 1,600 eggs. It's an insect, so it goes through the same life cycle like any other insect, where it's an adult, and then it's an egg stage, and then the pupal, and then the pre-pupal, and then the larva. Now, it's at the larva stage where we are looking for it, where it is the most useful to the community. At the larva stage, it has the most intense appetite because it's eating a lot of food to store it up so that it can use that food reserve as it is hibernating to change into a fly or an adult. So it's this appetite at larva stage that we are trying to get advantage of so that it can eat our organic component. And it really eats a lot of organic component of our waste.
It's a unique fly. It's not like a house fly. It's a unique fly that has got a very short lifespan. As a fly, it can only survive for 7 days. But then as a larva, it stays for about 30 days. So that's a good thing to know, that this fly does not bring about diseases. So it's a very harmless fly, but a very good destroyer of waste.
And an interesting component about it, an interesting part about it is that it's the larva stage, which is, it is food for the chickens. It's food for livestock, like chickens, especially the free-range chickens, the fish, and the ducks, and the guinea fowl. Now, when you put organic waste in a corner, and then the black soldier fly lays eggs on them, those larvae will be going in different directions and they will be very difficult to harvest if your intention is to feed them to your chickens. So we have a bin that we design so that you feed the organic waste into the bin. It's called the black soldier fly larva bin. And you feed the food into the black soldier fly larva bin, and you basically create an environment where you attract the fly to come and lay eggs into the bin. And once the eggs are laid, then they are hatched, and then the larva starts eating the food waste.
One, the people are willing to undertake to get rid of their waste and making income from the waste, just like they make waste income from plastics and other things. So the willingness is there. People are geared for that.
Keeping the fresh things, what they said, I started already. So before the group starts, I'm starting alone. I'm starting my own before the pilot project starts. I am happy and I was happy. As for today, the conclusion were good. And I am encouraged that I should get richer, not rich, but richer. That I can be able to support my children, my family, and on this I can even start keeping the orphans through it. I've seen there's future in it.
That same larva, which comes from the black soldier fly, it can be used to feed the chickens, especially these village chickens. It can be used in the fish ponds. Those who are into fish farming, they can throw it into the rivers, into their ponds, their dams, and the fish will feed on that. So for me, that's a money spinner. I'm encouraged because even personally, I would want to venture into that one.
We're going to have a meeting now. We're going to sit down. Then we're going to take them through what we have learned the 2 days. I was taking notes, so I'll go through the notes together with the lady that I came with and let them decide on how to go about it. But we discussed during the meeting that we can pay a certain amount of money. They can bring the bin. Then when we start dealing with the business that we have all agreed upon, we can start paying them in installments until we complete the agreed amount.
However, my takeaway is that people usually are shy to take up a challenge, and also they mostly expose their inadequacy by not having income. So my takeaway is that these people here really want support in how they can be enabled to purchase the bin. I think there was a lot of discussion with them, which I had this morning, telling them, look, ZGF cannot buy for you. You have to do it yourselves. Yes. First, our prototype, our challenge was for 2 weeks. So with the Complexity University, we are ending the sprint on Friday. But after Friday, then it's out to how we shall now continue working with this community to see how they have taken up the idea and see how they can really use the knowledge they've acquired to manage the waste, the organic waste in their communities. So that's the way forward.